Today's show was brought to you by Viking-Industrial.com.
All right, today we're going to be talking about perspective. And the way perspective works is I don't have a ruler. Hold on, let me grab a ruler. You don't need a ruler, but it's essentially a horizon line. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a line across your paper. It's going to go all the way across. And that's your horizon, whether it's, a road or a hillside or mountains or whatever. But this is where everything disappears into the distance. So all of the sky is going to come down to this line. And it could be an ocean here or it could be whatever, and the bottom is where the land meets the sky, so everything's going towards this line. This is 1 point perspective. 1 point perspective is you draw where you're looking. So if you're looking to the right, you draw over here, you put a dot. If you're looking in the middle, you draw over here and you put a dot. If you're looking to the left, you do it over here. Today we're going to do it right in the middle. It's going to make things simple, and we're going to draw, let's draw a road. So our road, or our sidewalk that we're walking down, we're going to pretend it's us, and we're standing on the road and we're looking down into the distance, and all of the lines on your road are going to vanish into that spot. So what you do is you draw your lines coming out. There's your sidewalk. But let's also put some buildings. Let's say there's some houses here. Alright, here's a house. Now this house's foundation is going to point at this spot. Everything is going to point at. So this roof here, assuming it's square, is going to point at that spot there. So you would draw your line just like this if it's going to point there. And then this wall here is going to point at it also. So there's that. And then these are flat because we only have 1 point to look at. So this will be square, like that. But everything on the house is going to go at that angle. So say there's a door, it's going to point at this spot also. Now if there was 2 point perspective, these lines would point at the second dot over here, but we're just doing 1 point perspective. So this is your spot here, and let's say there's a sun here and you got your sunshine coming out. All of your shadows come from the sun. All of your solid objects are going to point at this spot. So let's put a window on here, and once you reach this horizon line, the top part of the window is going to point at it, and the bottom part is going to point at it. So your window is going to have everything going that direction. So this line here, if you can imagine it running into space, it's going to hit this dot. And this line here, if it ran off into distance, it would hit this dot. So if you... Geez, I really need a ruler for this. Alright, so I went and I got a ruler to make this a little bit more accurate. So over here we're going to build another house. Or another building anyways. Let's make it straight lines. So these lines are going to go horizontally, straight up and down. And there you go. Now we know that this has to disappear into the distance. So you've got a front face, and then you've got, let's put another face over here, what is going to essentially be a really big building. So to make this look perspective, you're going to make this one square, this side here, but then this side here is going to connect to this corner, and it's going to go towards that dot there. So you got there, like that. And see how it points right at the horizon there? So you grab this one here, and it's going to meet at this corner, and it's going to go down just like that. So that's how you can make stuff disappear into the distance using 1 point perspective. And then of course, you draw your roof on here and say it comes down. Now the roof is also going to follow that line. So what you do is you take your ruler, point towards that dot, and then you make your roof come to here, and then your slope there. This slope needs to match this slope. Whatever slope you put it at, they need to be the same. So there's your distance. Say you wanted to put in a row of windows or something like that, like it's a big factory. Let's pretend it's a chicken factory with tons of, they put air ducts in these things. So there's your windows, and then you would just put line, 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 and they get tighter as they go. And there's actually a math formula to figure out where to draw these lines. And it's, well, here I'll show you with telephone poles. Let's do that. So the way it works is you draw your first telephone pole, and the way the math formula works is you got your telephone pole here, And you can also do this for fencing or whatever. But say here's your telephone pole, and you want to draw the next one. Well, the next one's going to be along this line. So your spacing on the telephone poles was going to follow this line here, and it's going to follow this line here. So you can draw your telephone, just visually pick where it's going to be. Like say you wanted it right here. There's your telephone pole there. And so you've got your next telephone pole. Now to figure this out, the distance for the next telephone pole is going to get closer. And the way to do that is to run this line through the center here. And that will tell you how close to put them together. And it really starts getting tight very fast. So this is going to hit right there. So that's the top of your next telephone pole is going to be on that line. And you can just draw it straight up and down. Like that. And like that. So there's your next one. And then from here, it's going to go right through the middle again and hit there. So you just line up those lines like that. And then this one here is going to get closer and closer. They're just going to keep getting tighter and tighter, and it's going to get too close to measure in a short distance. But that's how you would draw perspective disappearing into the distance. It's from the first post to the center point, and where that line ends up on your line of sight is where how you shrink it down, and that's how you know how far to space them together. And that's how you work out equal distance on that.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.